Good afternoon. It is January 4th of 2012, the year that we proved the ancient Mayans could not read a calendar. I hope you're doing well, and I want to give a little talk today about whether or not you can get contingency representation from a consumer protection attorney if you are sued by a debt collector. Most people, many consumers that I've spoken to, have the impression that if they're sued by the debt collector, that means the only thing they can do is defend the lawsuit, and they don't have any rights, and they're basically they're up the creek without a paddle. It's not true. Now, of course, no lawyer in his right mind is going to run around giving contingency representation on defending you in a debt collection lawsuit unless there was something in it for the lawyer. I mean, of course. We've got to stay in business too. We've got to keep the lights on too. I've got to feed my family, and so forth and so on. But what we look for, and I just want to let you know, if you are sued by a debt collector and they are violating a debt collection law, for instance, if the debt is not yours, and believe me, we see this all the time. Someone gets sued, and it turns out that the debt is a company that they used to work for, or the debt is someone with a similar name, that type of thing. If that happens, yes. Right now, as a matter of fact, I just concluded a trial in Los Angeles Superior Court where a woman with a very common last name got sued and got her wages garnished, and it turns out the debt wasn't hers at all. And yes, we took that case all the way to trial, and we're still working on concluding the case, but we think we're going to do very well. So, I mean, if it's a situation where you are sued on a debt and it is not yours, the answer is yes. Definitely you can obtain contingency representation to not only defend that lawsuit, but then also to bring the cross-complaint, where you can put some money in your pocket and also pay your lawyer. Another situation is if they sue you for a grossly disproportionate amount compared to what you owe. Let's say legitimately, you owe $500 to a credit card company or something like that, and the credit card company turns around and sues you for $25,000. In that type of situation, what they're suing you for is so out of proportion to the amount of the debt that you owe that, if you were to come to my office, or if you were to come to the office of any competent consumer protection attorney, yes, they probably could turn it to your advantage, defend you in the case on a contingency basis, and then turn around and countersue. And the countersuit, the cross-complaint it's called in the law, the countersuit would actually be much, much more valuable than the suit against you for the $500. Those are two types of situations where, and believe me, don't feel like I'm talking about something that's not going on out there. It's going on all the time. I mean, we're seeing a lot of cases where individuals are being sued for corporate debt even though they're just an employee and they have nothing to do with the corporate debt. We're seeing the situations where people with a similar last name or some other similar identifying features are being sued for someone else's debt entirely. We're seeing situations where people, soaking wet, they owe maybe $1,000 or $1,200, and they're being sued for $15,000 or $20,000. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all. If something like this happens to you, there is no reason not to approach my office or not to approach a competent consumer attorney and ask if it would be possible to defend the lawsuit and then bring the cross-complaint on a contingency basis, and that way you could obtain contingency or semi-contingency representation for defending a debt collection lawsuit. Now, let me stress, my office and other consumer attorneys, I promise you, we don't want to get suckered into a bunch of bad or idiot cases. I mean, if you want to roll in here with a case where you owe the money and they're suing you for a proper amount, and you just you feel like if you put a little stuffing on the turkey and you present it in some different way that we're going to take it, no, we don't want that case, and frankly, you don't want to bring us that case because we're just going to tell you to go and pay the debt. I mean, that's just the bottom line. If you owe the money, if a debt collector or a credit card company or something like that is suing you for a righteous amount, the thing to do is to contact the debt collector or the credit card company and make some kind of arrangement to pay off the debt. I mean, normally when you do talk to those companies, they will make some kind of payment plan if you owe the debt. If you approach them in good faith and you're decent with them, they will make some kind of payment arrangement or payment plan so that you can pay down or pay off the debt. And that's what we're going to tell you to do. But if it's a situation where it's not your debt, or they're suing you for some grossly disproportionate amount compared to what you actually owe, please come and see us, because we believe me, We've been seeing more and more of these cases. We've been doing very well with these cases. And if this does happen to you, please give us a call, and we're happy to try to help you out. The one thing, and I've mentioned it in other videos, and I've mentioned it in other places on my blogs, remember that in California, the debt collection abuse laws extend not only to debt collectors, the people who collect the debts of others, but they also extend to the original creditors if the creditors are doing their own debt collection. So if Visa, MasterCard, or your mortgage company is debt collecting on you directly, without going through a debt collector, you would have rights under the California law to go after them under the debt collection protection statutes. Not necessarily true with the federal law, but under the California law, you have the right to go against the original creditor if the original creditor is the one that's debt collecting on you. Anyway, I hope this little video has been helpful. I hope it's given you some important and useful information. I hope 2012 is your best year yet, and thanks very much.